Have you ever been working on this really awesome project, you finish it, you render it out, and then you're like, ah, man, the audio is just not that great, but you don't know how to fix it and you don't like editing your audio? Well, DaVinci Resolve 20 is here, and there are a ton of awesome AI features here for your audio that's gonna do a lot of the work for you. So in this video, we're gonna talk about those features. I'm gonna show you how they work. I'm gonna show you examples. We're gonna talk about the pros of using some of these AI tools, as well as some of the cons and reasons why you might not want to use some of these AI tools. So let's just jump in Resolve 20 and get going. The first one here is one that we've been asking for a long time, and that is the music editor. Now what this does is it stretches out or shrinks down a song, and then it's gonna use AI to automatically add or remove parts to that song so it fits the length that you want. So in Resolve here, this works in the Edit tab as well as the Cut tab. All you have to do is come and find your song, select it, then you're gonna wanna open up your inspector at the top right here, scroll down, and you're gonna find the AI music editor. So you've got a few different ways that you can use it. The way I like to use it is to just turn on live trim, and now I can come down to my clip in the timeline, zoom in a little bit, and now this is the whole song as it originally was, but let's say I wanted to make it shorter and I want it to end right here with my video clip. I'm gonna shorten it to where I want it. DaVinci Resolve is gonna pop up this window. It's gonna analyze the clip for us, and then it's gonna automatically put together a new clip that is the exact length that we want. Now on my computer, I'm running an M1 Mac Mini with 16 gigs of RAM. It's a little bit older, even though the M1s are good. So it does take about a minute or so for it to retime this song for me and make it fit the length that I want. If you have a faster machine, it's gonna work quicker for you. And that's gonna be true across the board for all of these AI tools. The more power your computer's got, the quicker these things are gonna work for you. So that's one thing to keep in mind with all this AI stuff, is that you want to have a computer that's got, a little bit of power to it if possible. But all this does work on my M1 Mac Mini here, and I don't have any problems with it. Once the analyzing is done, it's going to just go ahead and put that clip down there, and it's just going to be exactly how long you want it. Now you're going to know that it did make some changes because you'll see this little squiggly line right here. You'll see that, and that's just going to indicate that, a length change was made on the particular clip. And if we just play across this little section right here, you're not even gonna notice it.
Use text to image, a few prompts, then enhanced with AI.
It's good. I mean, it does a great job. Everybody's been asking for that for a long time. And the same thing, if you want to stretch it out, you can always come back and re-edit it. It's not gonna stay the same. You can drag it back out as long as you need. And then it's just gonna do a little recalculation. And you can see now we have two squiggles here. And it's just saying, hey, it made an adjustment here and here, and it's stretching it out for you. So that is a really fast tool, so you don't have to go ahead and chop up your own music and all that. It's gonna do it for you. Now there is another way to do it in the inspector here. If you wanted to just specify a length and then click adjust, you can do that. And there's also different versions that it'll give you down here, versions 1, 2, 3, and 4, of different ways it might edit that music for you. So really handy. You guys love that. I love that. It's a great feature here in Resolve 20. And while we're here in the inspector, let me just show you another one that's, I would say, long overdue as well, and that is the EQ in the inspector. Let me just make this a little bigger by clicking this icon right here. But the EQ in the inspector used to be a 4-band EQ, and now it's a 6-band EQ. Same thing like we've got over in the Fairlight tab. So I like that a whole lot better. It just gives you more flexibility in being able to work with the EQ. You've got 6 points. You can turn on these other two if you want. Can make adjustments here. Granted, I typically like to do it in Fairlight because I like to do it on a track level, but if you wanted to adjust a specific clip or two, or copy it around to multiple clips, you can use the EQ right here in the inspector, and it does a great job, and you've got all the tools and features that you need to utilize the EQ to make your audio sound the best that you can. Also, while we're in the inspector here, you might notice the names have changed of a few items that we've already had that use AI. So instead of just voice isolation, it's AI voice isolation, AI dialogue leveler, and AI music remixer. So if they look a little different, it's the same thing. They just kind of updated the names for you there. The next thing we can do in the Edit tab here is show the beats for our music. Now, you used to be able to do that in the Fairlight tab, but now you can do it right here in the Edit tab. It's quick, it's easy. So if I zoom in onto my particular music track, for example, I'm gonna right-click. Then I can come down to the bottom here of the menu and say Show Music Beats. Again, we get our little analyzer window here. It's gonna think about it, figure it out, and then it's gonna show those on the clip itself. So I can zoom in here, and now we see all the beats on our clip. And it just makes it easy for you to edit to the beat if that's what you want to do. And you can always turn that off if you don't want to look at it anymore by right-clicking and come down to Show Music Beats and click on that, and it's going to turn them off for you. The next tool we're going to take a look at here is called the AI Dialogue Matcher. Now, what this tool is used for is if you were to film out on location, you've got some of that ambient noise and just what it sounded like on location, and then maybe you had to voice over some stuff and put it onto, you know, your video, but those two pieces of audio don't really match up and they don't sound right. So what the AI Dialogue Matcher is going to do is add in some of that ambient type of noise just to make it sound like they were recorded in the same spots, even though one was actually a voiceover and one was filmed on location. So I've got two samples here to show you how this works. The first sample here, I was filmed in my garage when I was working on my Yamaha Blaster, trying to get the thing running, and here's what that sounds like. All right, got our handy little spark plug wrench here, so let's get in here and see what we could do. All right, so pretty good. It sounds pretty decent, but you can hear there's a little bit of like reverb happening there from being in the garage. Now I've got a clip from my studio where there is none of that, and here's what that sounds like. And AI is here to stay, so you might as well figure out how to use the tool the best that you can. I'm not wrong in that clip, by the way. So here's how we would make them sound like they go together a little bit more. I'm going to come to my clip where it's got the ambient noise that I kind of want to match. I'm going to select my clip, come up to the clip menu at the top, down to AI Tools, Dialogue Matcher, and Capture Dialogue Profile. Resolve is going to think for a second, and then once it's captured that profile, we're going to select our other clip, come to the clip menu, AI Tools, Dialogue Matcher, and Apply Dialogue Profile. We're going to give it a second to apply that profile, and you notice we see a little FX on here, so it applied an effect just to bring in some of that like ambient kind of sounding noise. So let's listen to the original for a second again, and then hear how it matched my studio clip to the original on-location clip in my garage. All right, got our handy little spark plug wrench here, so let's get in here and see what... And AI is here to stay, so you might as well figure out how to use the tool the best that you can. Try it again and see how it works, and I'm sure over time these things... Okay, so now we can hear that it applied reverb, right? But this is one of those cases, and I'm sure it's going to get better as time goes on, where it doesn't work 100%. Like, that's way too much reverb, right? They don't match up there, in my opinion. So you got to be careful with how you use this too. It's a good starting point, but you always want to make sure that you check it, you listen to it, and does it make sense, right? I think that's the big thing with a lot of this AI stuff, not only in audio, but in everything, is you want to make sure that what it's doing makes sense. It's not just going to give you the perfect result every single time. So that's important to keep in mind. And then just if you wanted to get rid of it or turn it off, you can select your clip, come back to the clip menu, AI Tools, Dialogue Matcher, and now you can see it's enabled. So if you just wanted to turn it off, you can uncheck this enabled, or you can remove the applied profile. Now, this might be another con to this AI tool right here, is that I can't adjust it, right? So it is a little bit too much there on the reverb, but I have no way to adjust it. Because if you look on your clip, I see there's an effect. I click on it. I click on my clip. I can't get to any effects. I'm in the audio section here. I have no effects right here. There's no way to make any changes, which is a little odd. Like, I thought you should be able to edit it. But if I jump over to Fairlight and I take a look over here, again, it shows my clip has an effect on it when I look at it here in the timeline, but I don't see an effect anywhere. There's no effect on the track. There is no effects here in my inspector. So how do I adjust that? So that's something that I don't like, right? I like that it does it quick and it gets a good, ballpark match for me. But if I need to fine tune it, well, I can't do anything with it here unless I'm just missing it. But I was looking at the manual too that came out with the updates. It doesn't say anything in there about being able to edit it. It's just turn it on, turn it off, and that's it. So with the AI tools, this one in particular, but the other ones too that I've tried, you can't always adjust everything that you might want to adjust, or you actually need to know what you're doing to be able to make adjustments based on what it already did. So we'll talk about more of those as we get into more of these AI tools here. But so I think this is a cool tool here. I like the idea of it. I think it needs to be fleshed out a little bit more because I might need to change it. Like in this case, it's too much reverb. It's just too much. But it's a good start, and it might work better on some clips than others, but in this example, I think it applied too much reverb. But that is the AI Dialogue Matcher, and give it a try. Try it out, see how it works. This is only a beta version. I'm sure they're going to add in some more tools, features, adjustments, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, give it a try and see how it works for you. Let me know. Drop a comment because I want to know how it works on your clips. Now, real quick, one thing not related to AI here in audio is that every time I change tabs, it goes full screen on me. So I'm editing on a widescreen, so I have to shrink down my window to a 1080, stick it on the side, and every time I change tabs, it keeps going full screen. So I don't know if that's a glitch. Maybe it's a setting somewhere. If you know, let me know. If not, I'll look for it later. But that's one thing I'm running into here that's a little, it's kind of annoying. But anyway, let's get back to the audio AI updates here. Now, while we're all still hanging out in the edit page here, another feature that got added is an easier way to just create your voiceovers, right? It used to be a little cumbersome to jump into Fairlight. You had to patch stuff. You had to do this, that, the other thing. Set up your track, arm to record, tell it where to go, all that kind of stuff. So now it's a whole lot easier. So if we just take a look in my timeline here, I'm going to put my playhead after the couple clips we just worked on there. And right here, we've got our a voiceover tool right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And now you can see it's already patched in. I didn't change any settings. I didn't do anything, although I do have my microphone set as the input by default for DaVinci Resolve in preferences. So you may need to do that. But you can give your file name a name right here. We're going to call it test VO. You can enable whatever input you want. You should see the different inputs on your computer here. And then you can select the track you want to record to, or you can let it choose for you using the auto mode here. And under the three dots here, this is pretty cool too. You also have your input monitoring. So if you're listening and you're trying to record, and now I'm hearing echo, I don't want that. So I'm actually going to turn that off. I don't know if you guys could hear that in the recording. I'll figure out when I go back. But I was hearing an echo and delay in my headphones. So you can monitor it however you want. You can enable a 3-second countdown. You can mute the rest of your timeline while you're recording your voiceover because maybe you just need to watch the video, but you don't want all the extra sounds going on. You turn this on, you check it on, and then it'll mute your timeline so you can record your voiceover while you're playing back your video without any kind of interference. And then you can also do a stereo input right here, and you can hide the options if you want to. Now, one thing that this doesn't do, at least that I've seen so far, is tell you where it's going to save them. And by default, in the past, it used to just save your voiceovers to like your cache file location, right? So it'd be hard to find. You weren't sure where it went. And typically, you're going to come down to the little gear icon, which is your project settings. You're going to come to capture and playback. You're going to scroll down. And you used to see an option in here of where you would save those files that you would record. However, now it's not there anymore. At least I don't see it. Do you see it? But where you're going to find that option now, and you get this option when you set up a brand new project in Resolve, is where do I want to put it? So if I come up to the top, my master settings up here, I scroll down to the bottom, we have our working folders, and right now we've got project media location. So that is where it's going to save your voiceover when you go ahead and create it. So if you're ever looking for it, you're not sure where it is, this is where it will be. Now this gets set up when you start a brand new project. You're going to get a window that looks like this. Let's start a new project real quick. I'm going to come to my project manager. I'm going to say new project. And we're going to get this window, create new project. You're going to name it, but right here, media location. You can change your location to wherever you have your project. Now, I don't know if when I move my project to an external hard drive, when I relink media, does it automatically relink this up? I don't know. That remains to be seen because I haven't tried it yet, but that's what I always do. But you're going to be able to pick your particular folder, wherever you want to save it, and then just cancel out of this in your preferences, or I'm sorry, in your project settings. Under master settings, that's where this project location is going to be, and that's where your voiceover files are going to get saved. So a little confusing there. It's not as easy just hitting the button and then where to go. I don't know. But that's kind of how it works there. So I don't know if it's going to work to record because I'm recording on my microphone for you guys now, but let's just go ahead and hit record and it automatically, well, this time it didn't, but sometimes it'll mute the track for you. So that way you don't, get extra echoes and all that kind of stuff. And if I go ahead and stop it, now we can see here is what I recorded. Here's what it sounds like. Just go ahead and hit record and it automatically, well, this time it didn't, but sometimes there we go. We've got our recording in there. So that works out really well. And I like that you can see your levels here. You want to be somewhere in that -12 to -18 dB range. That's a good range for your microphone input levels when you're recording directly into Resolve. Pro tip for you there. So really handy that you can do this right here in the edit page. You can do it in the cut page. And in Fairlight, I think you still have to do it the old school way. So you got options on how you can do your voiceovers. But that does make it a lot easier for those of you who don't want to dig into the settings, patch, this, that, all that. So keep that in mind. And if you need voiceovers, it's a great tool for you. And just to mention a bonus tip here, when you're recording a voiceover in the Cut tab, which I don't use the Cut tab all that much, but it's a cool feature in here that if you're recording a voiceover, so you turn this on right here, you do have some different options here that you can use. If you click on this little microphone guy, you select your input, your record track, your monitoring, And then you can give yourself the countdowns. You can use the VoiceOver recording file location to pick your location. And then you've got this icon too, which allows you to put like a teleprompter on top of the screen here. Now I don't have a script file made up, but if I did, I could load it up and I could have it scroll on the screen so I could just read it right off the screen, right? It kind of sets up those ADR kind of things for you and just makes it really easy for you to record your voiceover. And a little bonus tip here, it looks like in the cut tab, you got the voice isolation right here icon. You have your dialogue leveler icon right here, and then you got a stereo fixer right here. Pretty good to know that you got those if you're in the cut tab here. Again, I don't work in the cut tab much. It's all in the edit tab, but nice to have those options there that I just noticed because I haven't jumped into cut tab in a while. So nice to know that those are there. This next one, a lot of you guys are going to love, and this is going to save you a lot of time, and it's called the AI Audio Assistant. And what this is going to do is just mix everything for you. Your dialogue, sound effects, music, it's going to mix it all. It's going to apply some changes to it. It does a lot of stuff to your clips. It even adds some automation in there. So let's take a look at this particular clip. This is the Star Wars clip that I worked on with Casey a while back where I did the sound design for him. So I've gone through, I've taken off all my effects, my phase, my volumes, all that stuff. I just put it in the regular clips as they were when I downloaded them. So we're gonna run the AI Audio Assistant on this and see how it does. So we've got all kinds of different sound effects tracks in here, from TIE fighters to people talking to footsteps, all kinds of stuff. So in order to use the AI Audio Assistant on this, I'm gonna come up to my timeline, come down to AI Tools and choose Audio Assistant. Now it's gonna ask you what your delivery standard is. And for me, it's YouTube, but if you're uploading to a different platform, you're gonna see some of the different platforms up here and different levels that we typically go for when we're measuring our overall loudness for our videos. So I'm gonna choose YouTube because that's what it's gonna be uploaded to. And I'm gonna go ahead and choose Auto Mix. Now Resolve is going to go through, look at all your audio that's in there. It's going to classify it, mix your dialogue, your music, your sound effects, and then it's going to master it all together at the end. It might take a few minutes depending on how big your file is. This isn't a long timeline right here that I'm working on. So we're going to take a listen to what this did in the sequence, and then we're going to listen to what I did and kind of just make some observations between the two. I also want to show you what the AI Audio Assistant is actually doing and some cons to issues you might run into if you want to change anything with that audio AI assistant. So looks like it's done here. Let's go ahead and give this a listen, and then I'm going to play my edit and we can see the difference.
You're late. Come and take it.
So one thing I did notice, it sounded pretty good overall, but there were a few issues, right? Like I didn't hear this part when this guy talked. You didn't hear him at all. I'm not sure why. Let's give that a quick listen. So I don't know why you're not hearing that at all. If I just take a quick look at this clip here and what it did to it, I'll zoom in a little here. I mean, it looks like it should have some volume, but it doesn't, so I'm not sure. We would have to look into that. Now let me play you my edit and we'll just make some observations between the two.
You're late.
I'm here for the droid!
Come and take it.
All right, so a little bit of a difference there, right? We can hear the difference. I do have more effects added in here than what the AI assistant did, right? Because that's part of me as a creator being creative and using my creativity to make it sound the way that I want it to sound. AI doesn't know to do that, right? It knows how to balance levels and kind of set things up and do a lot of your basics. But even with the AI assistant there, you'd probably have to go back and adjust some stuff a little bit to fine tune it if you wanted. I mean, you could leave it how it was. It's not bad at all. I mean, I think it does a really good job. but it's not going to take the place of you as the creator creating the sound, creating the spatial effects, doing the different things that you might want to do when it comes to your audio in something like this. And let's just take a quick look at what the AI did. And it did do some cool things in here. So it adjusted levels for us. It did put little fades in and out on the clips for us that we can see right here, little fades. So it is nice that it put the fades, and if we click on our different clips, we can see it did adjust the volume for us. But let's jump over into Fairlight just so you can see a little bit of what's going on under the hood here with what the AI is doing. So jumping into Fairlight, musical notes at the bottom. So in Fairlight here, I do have a bunch of tracks in my mixer here, but taking a high-level look at what the AI actually did. If we take a look at, for example, our track number 1, it did apply some voice isolation, right? Some dialogue leveling, a de-esser, a little bit of dynamics and an EQ to our dialogue track, right? It knows this is a dialogue track and it treated it that way. Now, one thing where it did mess up is on this track. This is actually the Jedi talking, right? Which is this guy we see up here. And it looks like it categorized it as a sound effect. So that's incorrect, right? And maybe that's why it didn't treat it the same way as the other dialogue track, which is why we couldn't hear it. So you would have to know to come in here and fix it, right? You need to kind of know what's going on under the hood with the AI in order to fix issues that come up, right? So in this case, we could come to our Jedi dialogue. We could right click on it. And if we come down to track category, you can change it. You can see it's classified as a sound effect, which it's not. So I'm going to change that to dialogue. And then I'm not sure if I have to rerun the software or the AI assistant again to get it to readjust it. I imagine I would. I'm not going to do it this second, but I think if I rerun it, now it knows that it's dialogue, it should clear it up and do it properly. Now, the other thing that you notice is we've got a couple green faders down here. And what a green fader is it means that there's automation on there. So in essence, it means that there are changes in volume, because that's what the fader effects, being made over time to whatever track it's on. So in this case, the music track, you can see it dips down the music here and here. It's like auto ducking is essentially what it's doing. And if I were to play through this little section here, as long as you have your automation turned on, you're going to see these faders move. Check it out.
You're late.
Okay, so you see those move. That's essentially like auto ducking, same kind of thing. Now, if you needed to make adjustments to that because you didn't like how it worked out, you kind of got to know how to work with the automation a little bit, right? So that's a little more in depth of some knowledge that you need in order to be able to correct a problem that you might have. So that's one thing to keep in mind there. Now, looking at my other tracks here, I see that it applied a multi-band compressor, and even on my main bus out for the mastering part of, the AI, it applied a multi-band compressor as well as a limiter. However, when you look at any of these tools here, if I were to open up the controls, just click on this, this is all I get, right, for the multi-band compressor. I can adjust the amount and the threshold. What are the settings? I don't know. And I guess that's part of it. If you don't really want to know the audio stuff, you just want easy adjustments, you can do this. But for someone like me, I want to know what's happening under the hood, right? So if I were to add on, let's just say the multi-band compressor here, this is what it actually looks like. So what's it actually doing? I don't know. Most of the time it sounds pretty good. But if you need to make an adjustment, I don't think I can. I can't turn this and transform it back into the full multi-band EQ to adjust it the way I might want it. Now, if you're using the AI Audio Assistant, maybe you don't want to do that. But for somebody like me, I'd like to take the shortcut with the AI Audio Assistant, let it do its thing, and then just be able to fine-tune it to my liking from there. But in here, I only get a threshold and an amount. Maybe that'll get the job done for me. Maybe it won't. I don't know. It just depends on your project and what you're looking for. Now, on the main bus one out, same thing. With the limiter, same thing. We only get a gain knob. We don't have, a number of where we're limiting. This is just kind of boosting the gain. But like what's going on under the hood, I don't know. And granted, if you don't want to know about audio and you don't want to know all that stuff, that's fine. But if you run into problems, this is where it gets tricky. How can you adjust it, right? Because there's a lot going on here. And if you have no idea what all the AI is doing, you don't know how to fix it and you don't even know where to start. So that's a little tricky that I think you just need to be aware of. And over here, like I don't see any, a way to pop out the window. So, and see the entire effect. So that's just something interesting that I noticed that personally I don't really like. I like to be able to adjust stuff, but then again, I'm an audio guy, so I get that. I'm probably going to do it, manually anyway. So just know that those couple things, you may not be able to make adjustments, or you have to know how to do it and what it's doing in order to be able to modify things when you use that AI Audio Assistant. So just something to know and be aware of. And by the way, as far as which one sounds better, my edit or the AI audio edit, I don't know. It's a matter of preference, you know? What do you like? What do you think? The next AI tool that we've got here is the AI level matcher. So it's going to match the levels for your different clips. So I'm in Fairlight here. And if I were to select my one clip, I'm going to come up to the clip menu, come down to audio operations and level matcher. And I'm going to capture the level profile for that particular clip. Once that's selected, I'm going to select my new clip. Come on up to Clip, Audio Operations, Level Matcher, and I'm going to apply the level profile. And there we go. You can see it actually matched up the levels for the particular clip. It's kind of like setting your gain and all that kind of stuff and matching them up. It's kind of doing it for you here. So let's hear the difference. And AI is here to stay, so you might as well figure out how to use the tool the best that you can. All right, got our handy little spark plug wrench. So volume is about the same there. Now, compared to the original, here's the original volume. And AI is here to stay, so you might as well figure... Okay, so did pretty good job. The next AI tool here is the AI EQ matcher. Now, sometimes you may film in two different locations. You might have, they might sound a little different. So you might want to use a little EQ to kind of make them sound more similar. So you can have Resolve use AI to do that for you. For example, if I was to come and select this clip, I think you need to set an in and out range here. Then I'm going to come up to the clip menu here, Audio Operations, EQ Matcher, Capture EQ Profile. So now to apply that to my next clip, I'm just going to set a range here, in and out points, select my clip, come back to Clip, Audio Operations, EQ Matcher, and apply to Clip EQ. And there we go. So now it applied an EQ on this clip in order to try and match the original clip. So let's just hear a little bit of it. Use the tool the best that you can. All right, got our handy little spark plug wrench here, so let's... I mean, they sound pretty close, right? Close enough, I think. Now, you can also apply this onto a track. You can use a whole track as a way to create the EQ profile, then apply it to another track. I'll get into more of that in another video. And you can also have it automate the EQ for you, which means make changes over time if you have different kinds of clips in your audio track that you're trying to match an EQ profile to. Again, I get to that in another video here, and we'll talk all about that stuff. But pretty cool, nice little feature here, and that's going to help you just get that audio sounding better and matching up between your different clips. While we're all hanging out here in Fairlight, a couple other really cool updates is that we've got some new effects here. And I think it's something that's well needed, and I don't know, I'm glad that it's there. So if we come into any one of our tracks in our mixer here, open your mixer right there, we come on, click on the plus, and you come down to EQ, Fairlight Effects, we now have an EQ plugin. So not only can you use the track level EQ or the clip level EQ, but if you wanted more EQ on a given track, you can go ahead and click that, and it's another EQ that you can apply onto your track. I think that's well deserved, well needed. The only thing I would like to see in here is actually being able to have this use the sidechain to react to, say, your music, for example. But we'll talk about that in another video. Maybe it's something that's coming. I don't know. But having it as a separate plugin effect is something that I wanted. I think it's pretty sweet and will come in really handy. Another new plugin that we got here is the chain effect. So if you come down to multi-effect, Fairlight, and chain effects, what this allows you to do is build your own plugin chain here, and then this goes into your track as one effect. So you can have multiple effects part of one effect. So that way, over here in our effects section, you don't take up too many slots there. I think you only get 6 slots, I think. So by using a plugin chain, you can have multiple effects in there, and then it's only going to take up 1 slot in your effects slot over here. Now, I do notice that this does have the sidechain controls. So if I added, for example, the EQ plugin right here, boom, throw that in there, and let's say, my music tracks, I like to do something like that, boom, and then I want to turn on my automation here and have it listen to the track. Well, that's pretty cool. If it works, then that's going to be game-changing, and I'll have another video about all that stuff, because that's big. I like that a lot. Instead of having to use a third-party plugin, we could do it with the Resolve tools. I like that. Nice Blackmagic, nice. So that's another great effect. And then we also have a gain effect, and it's under Tools, Fairlight Effects, and Gain. So sometimes you just need to boost up the gain on your audio track or your channel, and this is a gain effect that is just gain. You can just bring up that gain a little bit. Now, I used to do that through other tools, like you could do it on the EQ, you could do it in the dynamics a little bit, you could do it in other effects. They all have, not all, a lot of them have gain sliders. You could boost it up. So there's the option now to just use a gain effect, and it's gonna just allow you to boost the gain up. So I like that. It just gives you more options on how you can set up your gain structure and that kind of stuff. So cool effect there. I like that that's included. Now, a real nice feature here in Fairlight that I like is we can move tracks just by clicking on the colored header over here. So if you were to click and hold on the header over here, drag it up, and you'll see that white line up there. Boom, it drops it right in. Now, the question I got is, can I do that with video clips? Let's jump into the edit tab real quick and take a look. Video tracks right here. Let me grab audio 3, bring it up. Oh, I can't do it. Looks like it's not gonna let me do it this time. Blackmagic, you gotta add that in there. Come on, I know you did it with the index with moving the tracks. You had only audio, now we can do video. You gotta add this in there too, Blackmagic. Make it so that we can drag around, our audio tracks in the edit tab, as well as the video tracks, because it doesn't look like I can grab them and move them. I wanna be able to do that, Blackmagic. Throw that in there for me in the full release, would you? Thanks, man. The next feature I want to talk about here is an AI feature called Checkerboard to Tracks. Now, this is going to take an audio file if you have multiple speakers in it. For example, maybe you're using one boom mic, you filmed an interview, but you only had the one boom mic, you're catching both people, and you want to separate that out into different tracks so you can edit their audio a little bit differently. Well, this new Resolve AI tool is going to be able to do that for you. Check this out. So in Fairlight here, I have an audio track with 3 different speakers in it. I'll give you a quick listen here.
Your turn to tell a story. Come on.
Me? Yeah, tell us a passed down story, you know, from your ancestors.
Fine, I'll tell you a story.
All right, so there's the 3 speakers, my daughters, and we had to do this for a school project. So I want to have Resolve create a checkerboard, which is really just separating out the audio, and it kind of looks like a checkerboard because it's spaced out on different tracks. So here's how we're going to do that. I'm going to come to my clip, select it, and right-click. Then I'm going to come down to AI Tools and Checkerboard to New Tracks. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Resolve is going to transcribe the audio. It's going to detect the different voices. And we should, once this is done, have 3 separate tracks with the different audio from each person on their own tracks. All right, so it is done here. Now, it did a pretty good job, but it didn't do a great job because there are different voices in here. Like, for example, this track right here, speaker 1, actually has 2 different voices in it. Here's the first voice.
It's your turn to tell a story. Come on.
Me?
And here's the second.
Yeah, tell us a passed down story, you know.
So they sound pretty different to me, but the AI couldn't pull them apart, right, for whatever reason. But for the rest of it...
It was in New Jersey, you know. Anyone who pays attention in social studies would know that.
I pay attention.
But do you?
Yes.
So we can see the one voice there, it's kind of caught between the 2 tracks a little bit there. So this is a case where the AI didn't do the best job, but it did do pretty good because we can always come back in here and just make, minor edits and cut the clip a little bit or extend it a little bit, bring it back, move it up or down a track by selecting it using your Option or Alt key plus your arrows. We can move it around like that if you need to. So you've got options there on how to edit it if it doesn't get it all, but it should do a good first go round for you here. Now, it should be able to do 3 different voices, and maybe these voices are just too close or too similar in nature. But if I had 3 different voices, then maybe it would do a better job. So in this case, it was like, meh. It did okay, but I'm sure it could do better if you had more distinct voices in your particular clip. So this one is just something that'll come in really handy if you filmed with one microphone and you want to split out the people into different tracks and you don't want to have to do it all manually. I would start with this, give it a try, and then just tweak it from there because it's at least going to save you some time doing it using the AI here. Another AI tool here is called AI Create ADR Cues. Now that's for voiceovers. I'm not going to go into that too much right now, but just to see where it is, you could select your clip, right click, and you can come down to AI tools and you have Create ADR Cues and ADR Cues with speaker. So that's just going to help you set up some cues for where you might want to record voiceovers if you do that kind of work. So if you use it, I'm sure that's going to come in handy for you. It seems like it would do a good job and speed things up for you. The last tool I want to mention here is called Remove Silences. And this is a handy one if you've got, dead spaces between people talking or things like that on their audio track. It can remove those silences for you. Really easy to use. You just select your clip, you're going to right click, and you have right here, Remove Silence. And it looks like you actually have to define a range, which just means set in and out points. So I'm going to say in, and it automatically sets my out point there. So now I'm going to right click and say Remove Silences again. And it looks like you actually have to select the track, so pardon me on that one. Now I'm going to right-click, Remove Silence, and then we're going to get this dialog box right here where we can make some adjustments to how much space we want to leave on either side of where it's going to take out that silence. So if I were just to zoom in here, we can see it's removing, fairly decent size chunks there, maybe a little too much. So if I drop the threshold down, that's just the dB amount, right? So how loud is it, right? When it's below maybe 30 dB, we want to cut that out. Or if you want it to be, louder and cut out things that are below 20 dB, you can adjust that. Now the pre-head and the post-tail is just how much space should we leave, before the silence or after the silence. So that just kind of helps you fine-tune it a little bit if you needed to. The minimum to strip here, that's going to say, hey, if it's a minimum of, however many milliseconds you pick, then it'll take it out. If it doesn't meet that requirement, it's going to leave it in there. And sometimes you might want to just set that as like a default, because if you cut things too short, it'll cut off your words and it just won't sound right. So you kind of want to keep that in mind. And you've got an option here to fade the tail and fade the head. So that'll just ease it in and ease it out a little bit. So if I zoom all and I say remove silence, I'm going to give it a second and it's going to take out all those red marks that you see right here in Fairlight. So now if I were to zoom in, you can see it did remove all of them and it faded them in and out. Now, I probably wouldn't want to fade them out in and out in this case, but you can see it took out those silences. So that comes in really handy. Now, the one thing that I wish this did do is I wish we could do it in the Edit tab, and I wish it would also remove the video portion of it, right? Because like me, when I'm editing tutorials, let me just show you here. I'm going to come back over here. And just jumping in another project, looking at this tutorial file, right, my talking head, I've got all these dead spaces, right? Now, removing the silences, yeah, that's going to be great, but I would also want to remove the video, like in this portion here. But unfortunately, the tool doesn't do that, at least from what I can tell. So if I select my track, right-click, I don't even see remove silence here in the edit page, but I wish they would remove both the audio and the video, or give you the option at least of removing just the audio or the audio and the video. I think that would be a huge help, because right now I use a separate program to do that for when I'm editing together my videos, especially talking head. I stop, I start, and this other program I use makes the cuts on the silent areas, takes them out, and it'll push everything together for me. And that's what I bring in a timeline from that program into DaVinci Resolve, just to save me the time of coming in over here, and I'm gonna cut, and then I'm gonna come here and cut again, ripple delete. I don't wanna have to do all that. I want it to do it for me, because that's kind of that mindless stuff that AI is great at, right? It's just take care of the work for me, and let me get to the fun stuff of editing and being creative. So I think if that part could be added in to be able to remove the video and the audio in the silent parts, that would be huge. That would be a game changer. At least for me and my workflow, it would save me from having to go into another program to do that, and then bringing in a timeline that's got everything already, silence is taken out, video taken out, and then just everything put together in a timeline, so I just have to delete clips that I might not want. And now the last one that I want to mention is the voice convert. So I'm here in the Edit tab. If I just select my clip, I'm going to right click. We're going to come on up to voice convert right here. And now we've got different options here. We can render it in place, save it to somewhere else, to a new track, and we can change the type of voice that it has. So I'm actually gonna make this clip shorter so it'll work a little bit quicker here for us. Let's make a cut. I'm gonna add a track just so we can dump it in that track. I'm gonna right click on that clip and we're gonna say video convert. Let's try female US1, tight matching to the source. I'm gonna leave the pitch and everything as it is. Change it so that it goes on to track 2. Let's hit render. And let's see what it does here. It's supposed to be able to change the voice for us. Resolve will use the AI voice convert and analyze the video, and then it'll go ahead and put in the voice for us. All right, so that's done. It wasn't too bad. Let me go ahead and mute this track. Let's see, what do I sound like?
This AI stuff is amazing. You can pretty much create...
All right, hold on. I got to make this a mono track here, because it sounds like it's only coming out mono, so here we go.
anything that you can imagine. And Sasquatch was just, I don't know, something that I came up with that I thought would be kind of cool.
All right. So I don't know how well, I mean, I wouldn't use that for me. Obviously, it's a woman's voice. But it's interesting. It actually sounds pretty good. I mean, like, as far as matching what I said, right? It works out pretty good. Now, you can also create your own voice model. So in order to do that, here's what you could do. What you'd want to do is find a voice in your media pool. So you've got the audio file, for example. Let's go ahead and I'm going to right-click on this one right here. I'm going to right-click, and then we can come down to AI Tools. And we've got our normal stuff here, but right here is what we want to use, DaVinci AI Voice Training. So let's say I want to make a duplicate of my own voice, right? So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. Extras, Download Manager, AI Voice Training requires downloading a package. Okay, I'm cool with that. It's from Blackmagic. I trust you guys. So it's downloading that right here. We'll go ahead and let that get downloaded and install. All right, I downloaded both of those. The other thing was an extended AI transcription language thing. So download, I just put that in there too. All right, so let's try it again. I'm going to right click. We're going to come down to AI Tools, DaVinci AI Voice Training. And now we get this message right here. So essentially it looks like any voice that you have, even if you recorded, I don't know, yeah, some famous person and you put it in here, it's going to be able to kind of recreate that. But you've got to be careful. They give you a warning here. You need to have the rights to use the voice, right? You can't just go and steal people's voices, right? I've seen that happen. I think Darren had that happen. Was it Darren Mawson had that happen? But anyway, you got to be careful with it. You know, if you want to use it for your own voice, so that if, you know, maybe you had a cold one day and then you want to redo it, you know, on a normal day when you recorded your own AI voice here, that's perfectly fine. But I'm going to go ahead and say accept. So now here is our training model. We're going to call this new voice model. I'm just going to call it -junk because I'm not going to want to keep it. The training, we're going to go faster for now. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit start. Then Resolve is going to go ahead, do its AI stuff in the background there. It's going to generate that voice model for you, and it should be available for us to use when we want to generate a new voice for any part of our... All right, we got this message. New voice model junk is generated, and the process is launched in the background. So this is going to take a while for it to generate, okay? And you might not want to multitask and do too many things while this is generating because it uses a lot of resources on your machine. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And one of the ways we can see that it's working is right down here, training in progress. If I click on it, it'll show me this little progress bar right down here. And it looks like it's going to take a little while, even though this wasn't a very long file, I don't think. Was it? Maybe it was. I don't know how long it was. But it's going through and processing it, and it's going to take a little while. So I'm actually just going to cancel that. But once we have that model and it's created, then you can go ahead and click on any one of your tracks. Go ahead, convert video. And then you would see that model that you created right here. It would appear right here. So you can make it however you want, whatever kind of voice you want. You got to come up with it, and then you can put it in here, and then you'll be able to, you know, use it for the AI voice convert. So that's all the audio features that I'm going to cover. And actually, just one bonus one I want to just throw in here, and that is the automatic deleting of cache files. Check this out. If you come in DaVinci Resolve and we go to Preferences here, I'm going to go to the User section. I'm going to go to Cache Management, and right here, we can delete old files. And now, if you know, or maybe you don't know, that your cache files will fill up your hard drive in no time. So I pretty often go through and delete my cache files. So I want this to automatically happen. I'm going to say do it every 15 days. I don't know. That sounds good to me. But that's a really cool feature that I like, along with so much other good stuff here in DaVinci Resolve 20. So you might want to check out that cache setting. And just a few other updates here for audio stuff. The automation now supports per channel mode switching. So maybe I'll get to that in another video about automation. I should make some more stuff about that. It's a little more advanced. Trim automation, again, automation stuff, now remains active through a mix pass. And then you've got improved view for presets and being able to store them and stuff. So all great audio updates here. We've got audio updates in the Cut tab, in the Edit tab, in Fairlight. I mean, they just adding in great stuff, and most of the time it does a great job for you. But the caveat is, I feel like you still gotta kind of know what's going on under the hood, because most of the time it's not perfect right off the bat. And if you need to make changes, you gotta know what to do, where to look, how to make those changes, because it's not always perfect. It does kind of stumble sometimes. Now, AI is just gonna get better and better over time, so there probably will be a day where you could just click it and it'll be done. But there's still always gonna be the need for you. We need you. You are the creator. You are the one with the creative ideas that brings things to life. AI is a tool that's going to help you in that process, but it's you that has the creativity inside your mind here, because AI doesn't know what you're thinking. Well, maybe someday it will. Let's hope not, right? But we need you to be the creative one to create all this awesome stuff and utilize these tools just to make it sound and look the best that you can. So that is your update here for DaVinci Resolve audio tools. A lot of AI stuff, love it. And there are so much other good stuff in there, but I wanted to get out a big video here with you for you with all of the audio updates. But that's going to wrap up this one, guys. If you have questions, let me know. I'm going to make individual videos on all this stuff, a little more in detail and in depth with other tips and tricks and things that I learned along the way. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have, so leave it down below. And with that said, I got to get out of here because I got to actually go run and do some things now. But I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know all your thoughts on all this cool AI stuff. See you in the next one. Peace.